CDL Tanker Vehicles Mega Quiz. 60 questions. Question 1. A tank endorsement is required for certain vehicles that transport passengers, hazardous materials, liquids or gases.
Correct answer is liquids or gases.
A tank endorsement is required for certain vehicles that transport liquids or gases. The liquid or gas does not have to be a hazardous material. Question 2. Outage depends on the amount of liquid, the type of liquid, the temperatures that your vehicle will be subjected to.
Correct answer is the type of liquid.
Since different liquids expand by different amounts, they require different amounts of outage. You must know the outage requirement when hauling liquids in bulk. Question 3. If you do not have an automatic tank drain, when should you drain your air tanks? Once a week. After every 4 hours of service. At the end of each working day.
Correct answer is at the end of each working day.
If your vehicle does not have automatic air tank drains, drain your air tanks at the end of each working day to remove moisture and oil. Otherwise, the brakes could fail. Question 4. Hauling liquids in tankers requires special care for 2 reasons. One reason is the center of gravity that tankers have. High, flat, wide.
Correct answer is high.
Hauling liquids in tanks requires special skills because of the high center of gravity and liquid movement. Question 5. Loaded tankers are said to have a high center of gravity. What does this mean? Much of the tanker's weight is low, toward the ground. Much of the tanker's weight is high up off the ground. The top of the tanker is far away from the Earth's gravity.
Correct answer is much of the tanker's weight is high up off the ground.
High center of gravity means that much of the load's weight is carried high up off the road. This makes the vehicle top-heavy and easy to roll over. Tests have shown that tankers can turn over at the speed limits posted for curves. Question 6. Which of these statements about emergency steering and tankers is true? A tanker is easier to counter-steer than most vehicles. When making a quick steering movement, do not apply the brakes. You should wrap your thumbs around the steering wheel before starting a quick steering movement.
Correct answer is when making a quick steering movement, do not apply the brakes.
If you must make a quick steering movement, applying the brakes would cause liquid surge, increasing the chance of a rollover. Question 7. An emergency forces you to stop your tanker quickly or crash. You should lock the brakes with the pedal and hold it there. Use only the emergency brakes. Use control door stab braking.
Correct answer is use control door stab braking.
You should brake in a way that will keep your vehicle in a straight line and allow you to turn if it becomes necessary. You can use the controlled braking method or the stab braking method. Question 8. When your cargo tank has baffles, what handling effect do you expect? There will be less side-to-side surge than there is in tanks without baffles. There will be less front-to-back surge than there is in tanks without baffles. There will be slower surge than quick surge.
Correct answer is: there will be less front-to-back surge than there is in tanks without baffles.
The baffles help to control the forward and backward liquid surge. Side-to-side surge can still occur. This can cause a rollover. Question 9. When loading a tanker that has 3 or 4 valves at the bottom of the tanker, you should have the valves open, adjusted, closed.
Correct answer is closed.
Never drive or load a tank vehicle with open valves or manhole covers. Question 10. You should be extremely cautious when driving smoothbore tankers, especially when you are going up or down a hill, starting or stopping, driving against the wind.
Correct answer is starting or stopping.
Be extremely cautious in driving smoothbore tanks, especially when starting and stopping. Question 11. Exactly how should you inspect your tank vehicle? Do it the same way that you inspected other tank vehicles before. Read the vehicle's manual to learn how to do it. Ask a fellow driver how to do it.
Correct answer is read the vehicle's manual to learn how to do it.
Tank vehicles have special items that you need to check. Tank vehicles come in many types and sizes. You need to check the vehicle's operator manual to make sure you know how to inspect your tank vehicle. Question 12. If a hill or curve keeps drivers behind you from seeing the vehicle within 500 feet, the rear reflective triangle should be moved back down the road to give adequate warning. You do not need to put out reflective triangles unless the vehicle will be stopped for 30 minutes or more. The vehicle's taillights should be kept on, warning other drivers.
Correct answer is the rear reflective triangle should be moved back down the road to give adequate warning.
If line of sight view is obstructed due to hill or curve, move the rearmost triangle to a point back down the road so warning is provided up to 500 feet. Question 13. When loading a tank with bulkheads, don't put too much weight on of the vehicle. The front or the rear? The front. The rear.
Correct answer is the front or the rear.
Don't put too much weight on the front or rear of the vehicle. Question 14. How far back does a helper stand when pumping or unloading liquids from a tanker? 15 feet. 20 feet. 25 feet.
Correct answer is 25 feet.
The person watching the loading or unloading must be alert, have a clear view of the cargo tank, be within 25 feet of the tank, know of the hazards of the materials involved, know the procedures to follow in an emergency, and be authorized to move the cargo tank and able to do so. Question 15. Which of these statements about managing space to the sides is true? Strong winds make it easy to stay in your lane. Always keep your vehicle to the right side of your lane. You should avoid traveling next to others whenever possible.
Correct answer is: you should avoid traveling next to others whenever possible.
Commercial vehicles are often wide and take up most of a lane. Safe drivers will manage what little space they have. You can do this by keeping your vehicle centered in your lane and avoid driving alongside others. Question 16. When hauling two tankers, where should the weight be carried? In the middle, to the front, in the back.
Correct answer is: to the front.
For the safest handling on the road, the more heavily loaded semi-trailer should be in first position behind the tractor. The lighter trailer should be in the rear. Question 17. You need to be extremely cautious when driving smoothbore tankers. This is especially true when you are loading or unloading, starting or stopping, hauling milk or other food products.
Correct answer is: starting or stopping.
Unbaffled liquid tankers, sometimes called smoothbore tanks, have nothing inside to slow down the flow of the liquid. Therefore, forward and back surge is very strong. Question 18. You may not be able to fill the tanks completely because the liquid may expand in transit. A full load of a dense liquid may exceed the legal weight limit. Both of the above are true.
Correct answer is: both of the above are true.
A full tank of dense liquid, such as some acids, may exceed legal weight limits. For that reason, you may often only partially fill tanks with heavy liquids. The amount of liquid to load into a tank depends on the amount the liquid will expand in transit, the weight of the liquid, and the legal weight limits. Question 19. What does liquid surge do to the handling of a tanker? Surge lets you turn corners tighter. Surge raises the wind drag of the truck. Surge can move the truck in the direction the liquid waves move.
Correct answer is: surge can move the truck in the direction the liquid waves move.
Liquid surge results from movement of the liquid in partially filled tanks. This movement can have bad effects on handling. When the wave hits the end of the tank, it tends to push the truck in the direction the wave is moving. Question 20. When you unload the smaller tanks of a tank with bulkheads, be careful to check the distribution of weight, air-to-fuel ratio, water content.
Correct answer is: distribution of weight.
When loading and unloading the smaller tanks, the driver must pay attention to weight distribution. Don't put too much weight on the front or rear of the vehicle. Question 21. How can you start moving without rolling backward? Apply the trailer brake hand valve. Set the parking brake whenever necessary. Engage the clutch before removing your foot from the brake. Do all of the above.
Correct answer is: do all of the above.
Don't roll back when you start. You may hit someone behind you. If you have a manual transmission vehicle, partly engage the clutch before you take your right foot off the brake. Put on the parking brake whenever necessary to keep from rolling back. Release the parking brake only when you have applied enough engine power to keep from rolling back. Question 22. Which of these is the most important thing to remember about emergency braking? Never do it without downshifting first. If the wheels are skidding, you cannot control the vehicle. Disconnecting the steering axle brakes will help keep your vehicle in a straight line.
Correct answer is: if the wheels are skidding, you cannot control the vehicle.
If the wheels are skidding, you cannot control the vehicle. Question 23. You must have a tank vehicle, N, endorsement to drive a vehicle with individual tanks over 225 gallons or a total of at least 2,400 gallons. Individual tanks over 65 gallons or a total of at least 500 gallons. Individual tanks over 119 gallons or a total of at least 1,000 gallons.
Correct answer is: individual tanks over 119 gallons or a total of at least 1,000 gallons.
A tank endorsement is required if your vehicle needs a Class A or B CDL and you want to haul a liquid or liquid gas in a tank or tanks having an individual rated capacity of more than 119 gallons and an aggregate rated capacity of 1,000 gallons or more that is either permanently or temporarily attached to the vehicle or the chassis. Question 24. Outage means how fast the tanks drain. Liquid weight. Allowance for expansion of liquid.
Correct answer is: allowance for expansion of liquid.
Liquids expand as they warm and you must leave room for the expanding liquid. This is called outage. Question 25. On a long or steep downgrade, once you have reached your safe speed, brake until you are traveling 5 miles per hour slower, 15 miles per hour slower, 10 miles per hour slower.
Correct answer is 5 miles per hour slower.
The use of brakes on a long and/or steep downgrade is only a supplement to the braking effect of the engine. Once the vehicle is in the proper low gear, the following are the proper braking techniques. Apply the brakes just hard enough to feel a definite slowdown. When your speed has been reduced to approximately 5 miles per hour below your safe speed, then release the brakes. When your speed has increased to your safe speed, repeat. Question 26. When should you inspect a tank vehicle? Before driving it. Before loading it or driving it. Before loading it, driving it, or unloading it.
Correct answer is before loading it, driving it, or unloading it.
You should inspect a tank vehicle before loading it, driving it, or unloading it. This is to ensure that it is safe to carry out these activities and the vehicle can safely hold its liquid or gas contents. Question 27. If you steer quickly while braking, your tanker may not slow down, roll over, skid.
Correct answer is roll over.
Because of the high center of gravity and the surge of the liquid, you must start, slow down, and stop very smoothly. Also, make smooth turns and lane changes. Question 28. To correct a drive wheel braking skid, you should brake harder, turn quickly, and counter steer. Stop braking, turn quickly, and counter steer.
Correct answer is stop braking, turn quickly, and counter steer.
Do the following to correct a drive wheel braking skid. Stop braking, allowing the rear wheels roll again and keep the rear wheels from sliding, and counter steer. As a vehicle turns back on course, it tends to keep on turning. Unless you turn the steering wheel quickly the other way, you may find yourself skidding in the opposite direction. Question 29. When you load the small tanks of a cargo tank equipped with bulkheads, you should check your weight distribution, water content, air-to-fuel ratio.
Correct answer is weight distribution.
Some liquid tanks are divided into several smaller tanks by bulkheads. When loading and unloading the smaller tanks, the driver must pay attention to weight distribution. Don't put too much weight on the front or rear of the vehicle. Question 30. You should know the outage needed for the liquids you carry because tank baffles are not always legal with outage. Some of the heaviest liquids do not need any. Some liquids expand more than others when they get warm.
Correct answer is some liquids expand more than others when they get warm.
Liquids expand as they warm and you must leave room for the expanding liquid. This is called outage. Since different liquids expand by different amounts, they require different amounts of outage. Question 31. Which of these statements about tankers and their center of gravity is true? Much of the load's weight is carried high up off the road. Tankers can turn over at the speed limits posted for curves. Both of the above.
Correct answer is both of the above.
High center of gravity means that much of the load's weight is carried high up off the road. This makes the vehicle top-heavy and easy to roll over. Liquid tankers are especially easy to roll over. Tests have shown that tankers can turn over at the speed limits posted for curves. Take highway curves and on-ramp, off-ramp curves well below the posted speeds. Question 32. If your vehicle has any of the following equipment, what needs to work properly? Emergency shut-off systems, vapor recovery kits, grounding and bonding cables. All of the above.
Correct answer is all of the above.
If your vehicle has any of the following equipment, make sure it works: vapor recovery kits, grounding and bonding cables, emergency shut-off systems, or built-in fire extinguisher. Question 33. Baffles in liquid cargo tanks do not usually prevent the movement of surge from side to side, top to bottom, front to back.
Correct answer is side to side.
Baffles slow front to back surge in tankers but have little effect on side to side surge. Question 34. The best way to take a curve with a tanker is to slow to a safe speed before entering the curve, then, as you go through it, brake lightly, downshift twice, accelerate slightly.
Correct answer is accelerate slightly.
Slow down before curves, then accelerate slightly through the curve. The posted speed for a curve may be too fast for a tank vehicle. Question 35. How would you expect a truck with a cargo tank that has baffles to handle on the road? The truck will seem heavier than it really is. The truck will handle the same as a tanker without baffles. There will be less front-to-back surge than there is in a tanker without baffles.
Correct answer is: there will be less front-to-back surge than there is in a tanker without baffles.
Baffled liquid tanks have bulkheads in them with holes that let the liquid flow through. The baffles help to control the forward and backward liquid surge. Side-to-side surge can still occur. This can cause a rollover. Question 36. A tanker has lost its brakes. When should the driver use a truck escape ramp? Only if the tank has baffles. Never. Always.
Correct answer is: always.
Any driver who loses brakes going downhill should use an escape ramp if it's available. If you don't use it, your chances of having a serious crash may be much greater. Question 37. If you must make an emergency stop, brake so that you'll definitely lock the brakes. Your vehicle will stay in a straight line. You can use the parking brake before the brake pedal.
Correct answer is: your vehicle will stay in a straight line.
You should brake in a way that will keep your vehicle in a straight line and allow you to turn if it becomes necessary. You can use the controlled braking method or the stab braking method. Question 38. Separations between compartments inside tanks that have openings or holes in them are called baffles, bulkheads, barriers.
Correct answer is baffles.
Baffled liquid tanks have bulkheads in them with holes that let the liquid flow through. The baffles help to control the forward and backward liquid surge. Question 39. If your vehicle is placarded, you must stop feet before the nearest rail at a railroad crossing. 10 to 35. 5 to 20. 15 to 50.
Correct answer is 15 to 50.
Stop before a railroad crossing if your vehicle is placarded, carries any amount of chlorine, has cargo tanks loaded or empty used for hazardous materials. You must stop 15 to 50 feet before the nearest trail. Proceed only when you are sure no train is coming, and you can clear the tracks without stopping. Don't shift gears while crossing the tracks. Question 40. A vehicle placarded for hazardous materials must have placards on sides. 2, 4, 3.
Correct answer is 4.
You placard your vehicle to warn everyone around you that you are transporting hazardous materials. Therefore, you must have placards on all 4 sides of your vehicle. Question 41. What should you do if you get stuck on the railroad tracks? Get out of your vehicle and away from the tracks. Stay in your vehicle. Scream for help.
Correct answer is get out of your vehicle and away from the tracks.
If for any reason you get stuck on the tracks, get out of the vehicle and away from the tracks. Check signposts or signal housing at the crossing for emergency notification information. Call 911 or another emergency number. Give the location of the crossing using all identifiable landmarks, especially the dot number, if posted. Question 42. To control surge, what is the best way to brake? Brake firmly. Keep a steady foot on the brake and don't release the brake too soon. Brake quickly to slow down and then brake quickly again to come to a full stop.
Correct answer is: keep a steady foot on the brake and don't release the brake too soon.
Keep a steady pressure on the brakes. Do not release too soon when coming to a stop. Brake far in advance of a stop and increase your following distance. Question 43. If you drive a tank vehicle that you know is leaking, you may receive a citation, receive a pay cut, receive a citation and be prevented from further driving.
Correct answer is: receive a citation and be prevented from further driving.
Don't carry liquids or gases in a leaking tank. To do so is a crime. You will be cited and prevented from driving further. You may also be liable for the cleanup of any spill. Question 44. You are driving on a clear night. You must dim your headlights from high to low, and should adjust your speed so you can stop within the distance you can see ahead. The length of your vehicle. The length of a football field. The distance you will travel in the next 15 seconds.
Correct answer is: the distance you can see ahead.
You should always be able to stop within the distance you can see ahead. Fog, rain, or other conditions may require that you slow down to be able to stop in the distance you can see. At night, you can't see as far with low beams as you can with high beams. When you must use low beams, slow down. Question 45. Which of these statements about stopping distance and speed is true? Wet roads can double stopping distance at any speed. You need about 2 times as much stopping distance at 40 miles per hour as at 20 miles per hour. All answers are true.
Correct answer is: wet roads can double stopping distance at any speed.
Remember that wet roads double the normal stopping distance. Question 46. A smoothbore tank is also known as a tank made of aluminum, an unbaffled liquid tank, a liquid tank with baffles.
Correct answer is: an unbaffled liquid tank.
Unbaffled liquid tankers, also called smoothbore tanks, have nothing inside to slow down the flow of the liquid. Question 47. Empty trucks have better traction when stopping than full ones. May require longer stopping distances than full ones. Stop quicker when you use only the emergency or parking brake.
Correct answer is: may require longer stopping distances than full ones.
Empty tank vehicles may take longer to stop than full ones. Question 48. When must a tank be unbaffled? If it has to stay very clean. If the liquid is likely to expand a lot. If the liquid is very dense.
Correct answer is: if it has to stay very clean.
Unbaffled liquid tankers, sometimes called smoothbore tanks, have nothing inside to slow down the flow of the liquid. Unbaffled tanks are usually those that transport food products like milk. Sanitation regulations forbid the use of baffles because of the difficulty in cleaning the inside of the tank. Question 49. Liquid surge is especially dangerous on hills, on narrow city streets, on slippery roads.
Correct answer is on slippery roads.
If the truck is on a slippery surface such as ice, the wave can shove a stopped truck out into an intersection. Question 50. When hauling hazardous materials, you must check any dual tires. Every week. Every 5 hours. At the start of each trip and each time you stop.
Correct answer is at the start of each trip and each time you stop.
If you have a placarded trailer with dual tires, you should check the tires at the start of each trip and each time that you stop for any reason, whether to rest or to refuel. Use a tire pressure gauge to get an accurate reading. Question 51. Liquid in a tank with baffles can have what kind of surge? Front to back, side to side, top to bottom.
Correct answer is side to side.
The baffles help to control the forward and backward liquid surge. Side to side surge can still occur. This can cause a rollover. Question 52. Hauling liquids in tank vehicles requires special care for 2 reasons. One reason is extreme weight, uneven expansion, liquid movement.
Correct answer is liquid movement.
Hauling liquids in tanks requires special skills because of the high center of gravity and liquid movement. Question 53. When pre-tripping your tanker you should check for joints, leaks, barriers.
Correct answer is leaks.
On all tank vehicles, the most important item to check for is leaks. Check under and around the vehicle for signs of any leaking. Don't carry liquids or gases in a leaking tank. Question 54. Liquid tight separations between compartments inside tanks are called baffles, barriers, bulkheads.
Correct answer is bulkheads.
Some liquid tanks are divided into several smaller tanks by bulkheads. Question 55. Side-to-side surge can cause rollover, overspeeding, suspension system failure.
Correct answer is rollover.
Side-to-side surge can cause a rollover. Question 56. You should know that your brakes are fading when the brake feels spongy when pressure is applied. Pressure on the brake pedal is released and speed increases. You must push harder on the brake pedal to control your speed on a downgrade.
Correct answer is you must push harder on the brake pedal to control your speed on a downgrade.
Increasing application pressure to hold the same speed means the brakes are fading. Question 57. You are driving a tank truck and the front wheels begin to skid. Which of these is most likely to occur? the truck will roll over. You will continue in a straight line and keep moving forward no matter how much you steer. Liquid surge will pull the tank from the truck.
Correct answer is: you will continue in a straight line and keep moving forward no matter how much you steer.
In a front wheel skid, the front end tends to go in a straight line regardless of how much you turn the steering wheel. Question 58. The amount of liquid to load into a tank depends on the legal weight limits, the amount the liquid will expand in transit. No answers are true. All answers are true.
Correct answer is: all answers are true.
The amount of liquid to load into a tank depends on the amount the liquid will expand in transit, the weight of the liquid, and legal weight limits. Question 59. The movement of the liquid in partially filled tanks is called splashing, surging, waves.
Correct answer is surging.
Liquid surge results from movement of the liquid in partially filled tanks. This movement can have bad effects on handling. When the wave hits the end or sides of the tank, it tends to push the truck in the direction the wave is moving. Question 60. Manhole covers should be left partially open to prevent a buildup of fumes. Opened and reclosed before you drive the vehicle. Closed before you drive the vehicle.
Correct answer is closed before you drive the vehicle.
Never drive a tank vehicle with open valves or manhole covers.
Thanks guys for watching and for finding this video useful. I wish you success in passing the exam on your first try.